In this episode, I want to encourage you to learn a critical skill that most business owners seem to overlook. It's not rocket science, but it will determine whether or not you'll achieve the goals and dreams you have for your business. Ready to nail down a win on stage 9 of this year's Tour to Profit? Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Today you'll learn that knowing how you stand against your toughest competition is important, but not sufficient. That once you know where you need to improve, you need to create meaningful goals that will guide and inspire your team to make the necessary changes, and that there's more than one way to write meaningful goals. And today we're going to explore 2 powerful options for you to consider. Here's my question for you this week. Have you written down your big goals for this year in a way that ensures ownership and action? Last week, I asked you to take some time to look up and out from your business. Specifically, I asked you to do an assessment of how your business stacks up against your toughest competitors. I hope you took the time to do that, and I hope the result of your work last week was a list of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that will determine whether or not your business can and will be successful in the future. Now, this week, I'm going to ask you to do something that let's say most business owners don't do. That is, to turn this list into a solid set of written goals for your business. You see, I believe that one of the critical skills a business owner must have to be successful in business is the ability and the discipline to set goals for their business and their team members. If you already have big goals written down, good for you. You're among the elite, the few who have done it. Today, I want to give you a way to make sure your big goals are written in a way that's more likely to get you results. While there's not a specific formula or method to identifying your big goals, the work you did last week, looking up and out and doing a SWOT analysis on your business, is a great starting place. These may not be your only goals. You may have others that are more personal in nature. If so, that's great. You can use this week's exercise on them as well. Like most things, there's more than one way to approach setting and defining your big goals. Let me share a couple of ways to do it, and you can pick the one that's right for you. You may be familiar with the idea of making your big goals SMART. It's perhaps the most frequently used acrostic or memory hook for goal setting, and it may be just right for you. If you're not familiar with SMART goals, here's what it stands for. S stands for specific, meaning you need to be specific about what you want. In other words, don't make your goals too general. The more detailed and specific, the better. M stands for measurable, meaning you need to have a metric or a way to determine how much progress you've made towards your goal. A stands for actionable, meaning your goal needs to be something that you can do something about, not just something that may happen to you without doing anything. R stands for realistic, meaning your goal needs to be set as something that's within the realm of possibilities. I like to think of this as not setting the goal to have $1 billion when you haven't yet achieved $1 million. And T stands for time-bound, meaning you need to include a time frame in your goal. Set a specific date by which you'll achieve your big goal. If your goal is open-ended, meaning that someday this will happen, it's not a goal, it's a wish or a dream. There you have it, SMART goals. If that speaks to you, then use this acrostic and make your goals more smart than they are today. Honestly, I do really like the idea of SMART goals, but they don't hold as much personal meaning to me. I prefer a lesser known acrostic, SPAM. It's a lot the same, but the idea of spamming my goals speaks louder to me. Here's why. As you know, I grew up in a very large, very poor family. I have 11 brothers and sisters, and for the most of my growing up years, we lived in the projects, a low-income housing area in Northeast Ohio that was nothing more than a World War II military barracks that were converted into single-family apartments. I'll spare you all the details, but to give you a sense of the environment, each apartment had a living room, a kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom. And there was no way we could fit all of us into a single apartment. So my parents rented 2 units side by side, and we cut a door between the 2 units. That meant we had 2 living rooms, 2 kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 2 bathrooms, a virtual mansion for a large, poor family. And if I recall correctly, the monthly rent was something around $150 per month per unit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. As kids, we really didn't know we were poor because everyone around us was just like us, so we felt like we were just living with our people. One of the things I do remember well was the food we ate and how we handled meals for a family of 14. We never sat down for a meal as a family. Honestly, we couldn't. We didn't have a table big enough, and even when we ate outside on the picnic table, some of us had to sit on the ground just to make room for everyone. So meals were typically handled first come, first served, meaning if you weren't there when lunch or dinner was ready, you may not get any. I remember eating a lot of fish sticks. I think because they were easy to pop in the oven and everyone could take what they wanted. No fuss, no mess. And if we had meat, it was most often meat out of a can. You know that delicacy known as Spam. We'd get the supersized large cans of Spam where the Spam would slide out of the tin with a slimy sound like that sound takes me right back to the projects. That may give you some idea why when I attended a work conference shortly after graduating from high school, and the presenter used a can of Spam to make his point about how to write powerful, meaningful goals for your life, I was all ears. In fact, it spoke to me so loudly that I went out and bought a can of Spam and put it in my office by my desk. Even today, if you were to visit my office, you'd find several cans of Spam, all of them way out of date, as reminders to spam my goals and to help my clients spam their goals too. The Spam acrostic is very similar to the SMART acrostic, which is why you can use the one that speaks the loudest to you. Here's what SPAM stands for. S stands for specific. Make your goals very specific, not broad or general. It's better to have several very specific goals rather than having one large, undefinable goal. Rather than having a goal to grow your business, the goal should be something like grow the revenues of a specific product or service to a specific level within a specific time frame. P stands for personal, which means that each goal should be owned by an individual. I goals are more powerful than we goals. Whether it's you or someone else on your team or in your family, make sure each goal has an owner, someone who knows without a doubt that they're responsible and accountable to achieve the goal. Don't mistake this for the idea of having a big vision for your business or your life. The vision is a collective picture of what you want your business or life to look like in the future. But to make the vision a reality, you need to break it down into very specific goals that are owned by an individual. Something powerful happens when your big goals are written starting with I will rather than we will. A stands for actionable. Just like the A in SMART, the A in SPAM reminds us that our goals must require effort and work. It's not just a matter of hoping the stock market will go up and as a result, you'll have more money in your retirement savings account. What are you going to do to make sure your savings account goes up to the specific level that you have written down? Likewise, in your business, what are you going to do to make sure your revenues from your specific customer are going to rise to the specific level you've written down? Make sure your specific goals are actionable. And finally, the M in SPAM stands for measurable. This means your goals should include numbers, percentages, dates, or other metrics that can be quantified and measured. Don't just say you're going to accomplish something, put a date on it. Don't just say you're going to improve something, define how much better it's going to be. Don't just say you're going to do more of something, declare specifically how much more you're going to do. Specific, personal, actionable, and measurable. That's how you SPAM your big goals. And to make sure I'm always thinking about this, I simply keep a can of SPAM in my office where I can see it every day. It reminds me that if I don't achieve my big goals, my only other alternative is to open the can and enjoy one last meal. And since every can of SPAM I own has an expiration date that's before 2011, I'm not sure I'd survive my alternative plan, which gives me even more motivation to achieve each and every big goal. My hope is that you would be similarly motivated. So there you have it, 2 different but similar ways for you to write down your big goals. You can either make them SMART goals or you can SPAM your goals. Use the one that speaks most to you, but no matter which you choose, take the time to get your big goals down in writing. You'll soon find yourself among an elite minority of business owners who not only want to achieve big goals, but have done the work necessary to make them a reality. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts. Number 1, once you've done the hard work of looking up and out, you need to turn your SWOT assessment into a set of goals for your business. Number 2, goals are of no use if they stay in your head, so take the time and have the discipline to write them down. And number 3, you can either choose to turn your goals into SMART goals or you can SPAM your goals. Either way works. Use the one that works best for you. If you'd like some additional support as we ride this Tour de Profit race or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, tourtoprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss Stage 10, Financial Mastery. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.